What is going on, fam? I am back at you guys with part 4 of the top 5 beast cars you can get for under $5,000. Let's get right into it. Now, starting out the countdown at number 5, it's going to be the 1997, around 1998 Pontiac Grand Prix GTP. It needs to be specifically the GTP model because that's the one that came with a supercharger. And it had about a 3.8 liter V6 and it produced 240 horsepower. Now that's the GTP, that's the supercharged one. The regular Pontiac Grand Prix GT had only 195 horsepower. Now the GTP added an Eaton M90 supercharger, which was also used in the 96 and 2003 Bonneville, to the 3.8 liter, boosting the power to 240 horsepower. Now, the GTP trim level featured a quote-unquote performance shift button on the shifter that raised the transmission shift options. It also had front bucket seats, came standard, while a 45-55 split bench seat was available as an option on the SE sedan only. So if I was you and you guys were in the market for a Grand Prix, I would definitely go for the GTP, and you can get this, guys, for about $2,500, maybe pushing $3,000. These things do not go over $5,000, and that's how we're going to start off the list. Coming in at number 4, we have the 1991 Toyota MR2 Turbo. Okay, now the MR2 went through a redesign in 1989. Now, the problem is that North America, we didn't receive them until the late 1990s and 1991. When I was doing the research for this car, I was like, wait a minute, they came out in 1989. Turns out that Japan and everybody else had them at that year except America, because America, that's why. The new car was larger than the previous ones. I know you guys, you probably seen the previous one. It was like a little, this little toy car kind of thing, man. Well, the new one was a little bit heavier, weighed about 350 to 400 pounds heavier than its predecessor, and it received more rounded, like streamlined styling. It kind of looked like a Ferrari. Actually, there was a term for it. It was called the poor man's Ferrari, because it did kind of resemble a Ferrari, and there actually is body kits out there that you can throw on this thing and make it look like a Ferrari. Now, the MR2 Turbo came with a turbocharged 2.0 liter 3S GTE engine, and it produced 200 horsepower, and it was offered only with a 5-speed manual transmission. Now, the differences between the naturally aspirated and the turbocharged models, obviously, you know, besides the turbo, was just like some turbo emblems located near the rear trunk, a little emblem that said twin cam 16 turbo, a fiberglass engine lid with raised vents, fog lights, and an added interior center storage compartment located between the two seats. This was all for the turbo model, and they all came with a staggered wheel setup with the wider wheels and tires in the rear than in the front. Now, you can definitely find these cars for under $5,000. Once kept in good condition, the turbo ones go for anywhere between $4,000 to $5,000 flat. Now, ones that might need some TLC, those you can find for around $2,500, maybe even $3,000. Number 3 is going to be the 1998 Lincoln Mark 8 LSC. Okay, now this car is very near and dear to my heart. Number 1 is because I actually owned one of these, and number 2 is because I was shocked when I was shopping for this car back in the day a couple years ago, and I looked on Craigslist. I remember seeing it said Lincoln Mark 8 with Mustang Cobra engine, and I was like, oh my god, this thing has a Mustang Cobra engine from around the same year. Well, turns out when I did my research, guess what? The Mustang Cobra has the Lincoln Mark 8 engine. It's the other way around. The actual the 4.6 liter Intech V8 that's in the Lincoln Mark 8 LSC was actually the one that was put into the Cobra, and they just all they did was just change the intake, and it gave it the extra 10 horsepower, making 300 horsepower. So pretty much the original Cobra engine that was in the mid to late 90s Mustangs came from the Lincoln Mark 8, from the 1998 Lincoln Mark 8 LSC. and it produced 290 horsepower, guys. So you got a Lincoln with a Cobra engine, or the other way around, making almost 300 horsepower. And guess how much I bought mine for? I bought it for $1,000. The only reason is because they used to come with a air ride suspension, and they start sagging after a while, and the guy didn't want it anymore because he was gonna put the engine into a project car that he was working on. Now, the Lincoln, the Mark 8 was, if I'm not wrong, one of the first ever cars to come standard with HID headlamps. Also, the 4.6 liter Intech V8, it carried on as before, but now it came with a distributor-less coil-on-plug ignition system, pretty much enabling the use of high voltage spark plug wires. And the automatic transmission was also reinforced for greater durability and reliability in the 1997 and 1998 models. The LSC now had it had firmer shocks and larger stabilizer bars for even better handling and control, and all-speed traction control, guys. All of this can be obtained right now if you go on Craigslist for about $3,800 to $4,000. To the window, to the wall. We coming in at number 2, and that's right. It's gonna be the 1999 Honda Civic Si. And I don't know about you guys, but when I was first introduced to this car, man, was a Need for Speed Underground. And man, I never looked back after that, man. I was instantly in love with a Honda Civic, especially the Si in that hot blue color, man. There's just something about it, man. Pretty much for the Japanese and European markets, the Civic Type R was adopted as a high-performance variant of the Civic, starting with the EK9 hatch for Japan in 1996, and then with the EP3 hatch for Europe in 2001. Now, in North America, the Type R name has never been used for Honda-branded vehicles, only the Acura Integra. So there's your America again. You know, I prefer the Type R on a Honda than anything else. And the SI badge continues to signify the highest performance trim for the Honda, pretty much. The Civic Si has been positioned as more of a full-featured sport trim, and it usually has like the sunroof and even a speaker audio system. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and talk you guys to death about the Honda Civic Si. It is a car that is legendary. It is infamous. It's already made a name for itself. Okay, it came with a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder, producing 160 horsepower. It weighed just about 2,600 pounds. You got 31 miles of highway on the highway. You can turbo this. You can put a bigger engine on it. You guys already know what the deal is with the Honda Civics, man. Beast cars, super underrated. You know what, man? You can easily get one of these for about $3,000 in good condition. You know, somewhere around $2,000 to $2,500 in a little bit worse condition, but definitely a good project car, definitely a good starter car, a good go-getter car. This car is good for everything. And number 1, it's going to be the 2002 Trans Am or Firebird WS6. Now, the reason I didn't say the 95 or 96 or 98 or even 2000 is because I'm going to give you guys some of the reasons, but mainly it's because at 2002, the Trans Am, especially WS6 or the Firebird or whatever you want to call it, it's all pretty much the same thing. It had kind of peaked already. It had received every upgrade, every mod that it was going to receive for the year. Now, to start out, the Trans Ams, they came with some of the first ones came with the 3.4 liter V6 or 3.8 liter Buick V6, and then the V8 models came with a 5.7 liter LT1 V8, and the even later models came with a 5.7 liter LS1 V8. Okay, now from 1993 until 1995, the Firebirds received the 160 horsepower 3.4 liter V6. Okay, and that was later upgraded as well, but you know what, we're not talking about V6s here, we're talking about the big boy, the V8. Now from 1993 to 1997, and here's why I'm bringing up the point of getting a 2002 model, the sole engine for the Formula and the Trans Am was a 5.7 liter LT1. Okay, it was pretty much essentially identical to the LT1 and the C4 Corvette, except for more flow restrictive intake and exhaust systems, because of course they can have a cheap car competing with Chevys. You know, or poster child, the Corvette. Now, in the later years, specifically 2002, tailpipes for the formulas and the Trans Ams, as well as functional dual inlet, aka ram air hoods, they returned as part of the WS6 performance package. Now, the optional package, it boosted the rated horsepower from 285 to 305, and the torque from 325 pound-feet of torque to 335. Okay, now they pretty much changed from the LT1 engine to the LS1 engine, which was in the C5 Corvette. Pretty much, you have a C5 Corvette for way cheaper than what the Corvettes were going for at the time. And now at this time, you know, you can pretty much get these for anywhere from $5,000 to I would say about $3,500. I know they go a little bit more expensive depending on how well taken care of they are. But if I were you, I would just get something a little bit rougher, and then you can work on it. But you can definitely afford these for $5,000 and under, guys. And that is your number one.